So this is February of 2023, and man, cost of living affects us all, doesn't it? It doesn't really matter where you are, it just hits us some harder than others. But I live in Baldwin County, Alabama, Lower Alabama, and I'm a realtor here. And so I thought this would be a great topic to cover. It's kind of a rough time because of the inflation and all that that we're going through. I thought it'd be a good time to cover the cost of living in Baldwin County. And the good news is I've done a lot of research, and the good news is we're not one of the more expensive areas in the country. But what I do know is, housing, I want to hit a lot of different areas. I'm going to break this down into a lot of different groups. But housing definitely is a big part of cost of living, and there's a lot that affects that. And one is we have such a big demand of people that want to move here from all over the country, and so that when you have a limited supply and if your supply is here and your demand is up here, that's going to drive prices up. Personally, there are a lot of people around this country that would look at our home prices and think, wow, that's pretty low. But the people who are already here or who have been looking at the Baldwin County real estate market for a long time, they are seeing pretty big increases in prices over the last couple of years. Anyway, just bear with me, but what I do know is that Baldwin County is growing, and we had 5,000 people move to our area, Baldwin County, last year. And understand that the whole county only has 241,000 people for the entire county. I often refer to the 6 major cities of Baldwin County: that's Spanish Fort, Daphne, Fairhope, Foley, Gulf Shores, and Orange Beach. However, there's a lot of small towns too. But it's there's a big demand for people that they've come here, they've visited, they've read about us. There's a lot of articles written about Baldwin County, and they find themselves moving here. So that's what I do know. But let's get into this. I've done a lot of research. I think this will be very helpful. I understand this is February, and cost of living, of course, changes all the time. But this is February 2023. I went to a place called bestplaces.net, and they did a pretty good ranking of comparing Baldwin County to the rest of the country, actually to the state of Alabama and also the rest of the country. I'm going to run over the numbers based on the county versus the rest of the country. Okay, so number one, there's an overall rating, and if 100 is average, that means if I read off a number that's below 100, that means it's cheaper than the average of the rest of the country. If I read off a number that's over 100, it's more expensive than the average of the rest of the country, okay? So bestplaces.net gives Baldwin County an overall ranking of 94.5. Now understand, when we're talking about the US, they're all going to be hundreds, because that's going to be that's what they have in their algorithms and their graphs. And anyway, however they figure it out, we're going to use the US as a 100 guide, all right? And overall, bestplaces.net has given us a ranking of 94.5. Okay, so we're not more expensive. We're not the cheapest, and we're not the most expensive either. Okay, grocery. US has 100, of course. I'm not going to say that every time. It's always going to be 100 for the US. Grocery, we come in at 97.3. Now, again, we're dealing with inflation. We saw these memes on Facebook about eggs and jokes. Realtors joke around about giving eggs away as a closing gift at closing. Not a bad idea. But we know prices are up. Now, they obviously, there are people who are talking about paying $9 for a carton of eggs in New York, and I know we don't pay that here. So far as this ranking goes, our groceries are more expensive than they used to be. Of course they are. But we are below the national average. Health is the only category that we came in higher than the national average. Now, I found that interesting because a lot of the people who move here are retired folks or of that age and above. And, people of that age, I mean, I'm getting there myself. I just turned 55. And I find myself at the doctor a lot more often than I used to, for sure. So anyway, I find that interesting that a big demographic of the people that are moving here are of that older age bracket, but yet our health comes in at 115.5 with a national average of 100. So that means doctor visits, hospital stays, dental appointments are going to be a little bit higher than probably what you're used to, according to this average. Housing. Okay, let's get into that. Number one, we come in at 92.4. All right. As I mentioned before, there's places in all kinds of states that just pick a northern state, and they're all probably going to be a lot more expensive than we are. Another thing to factor in is property taxes. We don't have the cheapest in the country, and I've done another video about this when I did a video on property taxes in Foley. But our property taxes aren't the cheapest in the country, but we are the third cheapest in the country. Very appealing. It's very appealing to people who are moving here who are used to spending $6, $7, $8, $10, $15,000 a year in annual property taxes, and they come here and find out they're only about $1,000 or $1,200. It's insane, the difference, and so that's very attractive. The median home cost for Baldwin County is $269,400, and the median home cost for the U.S. is $291,700. Okay, utilities, we come in at 97.7, so a little bit under for power and water and sewer, which are a little bit under what most of the country is paying. Transportation, our area has some taxis, just a couple of small taxi companies. There is a share ride bus type thing that Baldwin County puts out, I believe. It's not a big operation, so our transportation costs are mainly going to have to do with gas, fuel that you put into your vehicle. So on that note, so far as transportation costs, we came in at 80. All right, that gives you an idea. All right, so because our fuel costs are going to be most prevalent when it comes to transportation, I went to gasbuddy.com, and our lowest price in Baldwin County is in Robertsdale at Buc-ee's, and it was $2.91 a gallon as of today. I looked up the national, I went to AAA's website, and the national average for regular fuel in the country is $3.40. So we are about 50 cents, almost 50 cents a gallon cheaper than the national average. And then there was a miscellaneous category that we came in at 84.8. And miscellaneous covers things like that's not in the categories that I just mentioned. But miscellaneous covers clothing, restaurants, repairs, entertainment, and other services that you wouldn't find in these other categories. So anyway, just real quick, we're not in a depressed area, we're not in a super expensive area, but there are areas that are more expensive than others to live in Baldwin County. I went to another website called niche.com, and I found the top 9 best places to live in Baldwin County that has the lowest cost of living. So here you go. Now these aren't my figures. This is from niche.com. The best place with the lowest cost of living is Bay Minette. Then we have Loxley. Number 3 is Robertsdale. And then where I live, Spanish Fort is 4th. Daphne, Foley, Orange Beach, and then Fairhope. You knew Fairhope was going to be down on that list towards the bottom. And then Gulf Shores is number 9. So anyway, again, folks, let me help you. I am a realtor. Give me a ring, call, text, or email. I can help you with any property in Baldwin County in Lower Alabama. I would love to help you. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been a realtor for 17 years, so would love to work with you. And if you have any questions about our area, or if you have found this helpful, please hit subscribe. I do pump out a lot of videos about real estate and about our beautiful part of the world. On to the next one. Talk to you all soon.